Testing. Hello. Dr. Grind. Godfather. HR3. Come to the studio, please. It's time to go live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, this is TGD Today. And now please welcome Hero the Third,
HR3,
Al Cloyd,
Dr. Grind,
George Honeycutt,
the Godfather.
All right, welcome everyone to TGD Today. It's Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Got Dr. Grind in the house along with HR3, and of course, I'm George Honeycutt, the Godfather, hoping to bring you some information about golf clubs and repairs and new technologies that maybe you didn't have before. And today, I think we're going to continue with our discussions about adjustable hosels.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited.
Definitely. I mean, the technology's awesome. It gives us so many more options.
Yep.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Now, last week we hit the drivers.
Yes, sir.
So HR3 and I tried to just work our way through it, didn't we? It was good.
I'm a genius. I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Okay.
You might have had to work through it.
I did. I broke a sweat.
No, we did.
Cake walk.
We tried to explain and give folks options and ideas about it. So
Yep. Cool.
So this week we're going to cover the fairway metals,
Yes,
and
sir.
we're going to cover hybrids.
That's correct.
So why don't you jump into what the adjustable hosel is doing now for these two clubs?
You got it. Well, with the adjustable hosels, what we're dealing with now is the ability to change the face angle of the golf club. So, but most clubs are square, or they'll be closed maybe a half a degree to a degree. Well, most tour players like a club that's open a degree. So what this right here does is it gives us the ability to adjust the face angle. So you can close it, you can open it. The second thing that it does is it gives us the ability to adjust the lie angle of the golf club. So if a person needs a golf club that's flatter than normal, then there can be an adjustment made in the hosel so that the club soles different and performs different.
Okay.
So, but one thing that you do have to keep in mind, every adjustment for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
So when you close the face, you're going to affect the loft. If you open the face, you're going to affect the effective loft of that golf club. So most manufacturers provide a chart, that you can look at, and the chart will give you, a very good idea. So just to kind of give everybody an idea of your basic chart right here. So like just to give everybody a for instance, A1 is Titleist's neutral setting on a fairway wood. So if you wanted to change that club, if you went to a B2 setting, say instead of an A1, the club's going to be upright 0.75 degrees by making that adjustment, but the loft's going to stay the same.
Okay.
When you affect you can affect lie angle without affecting loft, but you can affect face angle without affecting loft. So, for instance, if we take that face angle and change that, so say if we went to a A1 setting, or even to say a D2, it would be 1.5 degrees upright, and then the face would actually be open 0.75 degrees.
Okay.
So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Okay.
So you need to know what you're adjusting and what you're dealing with.
And the funny part is honestly, for the folks that are listening, I mean, this is very confusing to the average person. So when you get these clubs, you can look at these charts, but just take your club and tinker with it. Tinker with the different settings that you see
Yes,
on
sir.
there and hit them and try them. And once you find the one that works, then go in and read about it and try to figure out the confusion, get rid of the confusion. Because once you know where you want to be, then it makes it a lot easier to understand what that chart is trying to tell you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Because a lot of people go in and they read the chart and they think, okay, well, I'm a smart person. I made A's in school. This thing right here, Einstein would get confused with some of this stuff. I mean, it can be that
It can be
confusing.
tricky.
Well, we mentioned this briefly last week, Al, and I wanted to re-mention it this week with you here. One caution I have for all of our viewers and listeners here on the network is each of these adjustable clubs are adjusting through a Hazel-Ferrell system.
That's correct.
Okay, each of these Hazel-Ferrell systems are permanently glued onto a shaft, whatever shaft that may be.
That's correct.
Okay, and each of these ferrules have a dead zero line reference point
That's correct.
because each of these shafts, although some of them don't because of the way they're constructed, but majority of the shafts have spines.
That's correct.
And that is basically the backbone of the shaft.
Yes, sir.
And so the ferrules and all the Hazel adjustments are based off of that spine.
That basic setting. If the manufacturer is going through the aggravation of spining or
If they've
curing or
done their
balancing.
job, yes.
Yes, sir.
Let's say they have. Okay, let's just assume because all of them put a reference mark on the Hazel settings.
That's correct.
They put a zero reference mark. Callaway, for example, has a little hash mark
Yep.
on their Hazel.
That's correct.
And then you adjust
S
the
and a
Hazel.
N. Yep.
You adjust the Hazel, and you can adjust the lie, the loft. You can adjust the Hazel based off of that reference mark, and then you line that reference mark after you've made your adjustments back up with the Hazel of the club, and then you put the screw back in. If you don't, if you turn that shaft, then you got a really funky hitting club.
It can happen.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times it took me a while of tinkering around at the shop, but I've developed a tool to take these tips off of these shafts. So I can take Callaway tips off. I can take TaylorMade tips off. I can take pretty much any tip on the market. And then once you find what setting that you're going to like you're kind of going to get an idea of where to set that golf club up according to your shot tendencies. Like if you're constantly hitting the ball left, then you're going to want to open club head face. If you're constantly hitting the ball right, you're going to want to close club head face.
Right.
So those are just your basic, essentials of the design. And then once you find that position to where you want that headset,
Right.
then the shaft needs to be reset so that it's balanced to that setting. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Next point, and we brought this up again last week, is the loft on these clubs. I mean, one of the drivers out there can be adjusted as much as 4 degrees. 2 degrees up, 2 degrees down. Others are like Titleist, Callaway, are 0.75 down and 1.5 up.
Yep.
What's
0.75 down
Nike?
and
Is Nike the
1.5
same
up.
thing?
In Nike, you can go from anywhere from basically 8.5 up to 12.
Okay, so it's a 4 degrees. Cobra, same thing, 4 degrees. I mean, Cobra, you're not changing the lie angle. All you're doing is just de-lofting the club.
Yep, that's the same way with Exotic with that new E8 driver.
Uh-huh.
It has has at least 4 or 5 loft settings,
Right.
And then it has an upright setting, so it has all your standard lofts. It'll start at say 9.5, 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, and then it goes upright. So then it'll be and so on and so forth.
Here's my question. We're making as much as a 4.5 degree loft change option in these clubs,
Yes, sir.
right? But we also have lie options.
Yes.
Just how much are we really changing the lie by moving that little piece of plastic around on that
A
hosel?
lot more than you
A
think.
lot more than you think.
Okay.
Yep. Like just
Well, explain how,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
No problem at all. Well, the what happens with the clubs that you're able to do that, most of those particular clubs are going to have a dual system
Right.
on the tip.
Right.
Okay, and then what happens with this is one section of this tip right here is taller than the other section. There's one section that's shorter. Okay, so when you put that in there, depending upon which section's high and which section is low, depends upon your lie angle, whether the club is toe down or toe up.
So the club is actually, when it's being screwed back down, it's either flat,
Yes,
or
sir.
it's tilted back, or it's tilted
up.
forward.
That's correct.
Hey.
That's correct.
I figured that out. How about
It's
that?
Yes,
pretty
sir.
much idiot proof.
That's
Really?
it.
Because most of them do.
That's
tell
how you refer to it. If it's Godfather proof, it's idiot proof.
Exactly right.
Move on now.
Because
please.
here's the thing.
Just
though.
move
I mean,
on.
if I'm right or wrong, you tell me. You know, I'm giving him flack and teasing.
Oh yeah.
But most of them say, flatter or more upright.
Yep.
Now with Titleist, they have the letters and the numbers, and that's where you need the chart to know that. But, with Nike, it tells you upright or flatter. Callaway, I think, does kind of the same thing. But it gives you that option where, if you want it flatter, you can move it 1, 2 degrees flatter, or you can go up. And it's a matter of what fits you if you have gone to someone and learned, what your lie angles are and what your tendencies need to be, or someone like me that just knows what I prefer and I like and what performs better for me, then that's how I do it. But it's a matter of understanding the equipment you're buying the company from. You're buying the equipment from what company, and then being able to adapt it.
And that you've been fitted.
Yeah, and you need to go to see The Godfather at CPC, or come up to Possum Trot and see Al, or someone that's in your area. But get someone that knows what they're doing to be able to help you understand this, because it can be extremely confusing.
Interesting, a little funny story. Over the last couple of days, we've been getting a ton of our orders in from the holidays. And so a lot of our players are coming by to get their new clubs.
Yes.
Yesterday, for example, 2 gentlemen came in. One got a new Titleist, the other got a new Callaway. They both come in, and the Titleist guy goes, "George, you remember me?" I said, "Oh, yes, sir, absolutely." He goes, "Okay, this is my new driver, my new D2 915. I said, "Yes, sir. There it is in all its glory with the Diamante 70 in it. Fantastic club." He goes, "Would you go ahead and take the wrapping off of it?" And I said, "Okay, don't you want to do that? It's like unwrapping Christmas."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he goes, "No, you go ahead and do it." He goes, "Okay, now, would you go ahead and take the chart and take the wrench and set it to what my settings were at my fitting?" And I said, "Not a problem, sir." I pulled up his record, his fitting record, and there was the settings that we had found was the most optimal for him. I went ahead and changed it and gave it to him, and he goes, "Okay, thanks so much." He goes, "Boy, that's a pretty head cover." He slides it on. He walks out the door. I go chasing after him. "Sir, you forgot your wrench." He goes, "I don't want the
need it.
damn thing."
I don't want it. Yeah.
He goes, "Don't give me that."
Give me that. Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, 30 minutes later, the guy that ordered the Callaway came in, brought his wife, picked up his club. He said, "George, is this on the setting that I liked when I hit it?" I said, "No, it's on its standard neutral setting." He goes, "Would you set it for me?" So I undid it, set it for him, put it back together again. Okay, I gave him the bag with the head cover, the wrench, and the instruction booklet in it.
Right.
Okay. The wife goes, "Uh-uh." I said, "Excuse me?" She goes, "No." She says, "I'll take that. He can have the head cover." I says, "Why?" He'll go home, and the first thing he'll do is take this thing apart and figure out how he can jimmy rig it.
Yep. Yep.
He said, "We bought a new TV, and he tried to take it apart to see if he could boost the signal coming in." He said, "TV's never worked the same since." She goes, "I ain't having him do this to this $500 club." And she was right.
Now you know why George calls his wife "she who must be obeyed."
That's right.
That's it.
That's right. So it's interesting. This stuff is phenomenal. It's great that we have the technology. It's great that it's been designed, but know what you're doing before you start messing around with this. That's why I brought up the spine. Brought up that every shaft has a backbone. The recoils we found don't, but everything else pretty much has. So, it's just a matter of getting fitted, get the right club in your hands, and we're not proposing any particular manufacturer. They're just all made available now.
That's correct.
And so just get fitted, get it set, get that set, because then you're going to go see Hugh. And let's say you got a swing flaw or you're hitting the ball right and you're trying to move it left through the club. but you go get a couple lessons. All of a sudden, he corrects the problem that you had moving the ball right. Now you've got to reset this new $500, $400 driver because you're hitting it better. You got to change the settings again.
Yeah, well, and that's a plus, and that's a benefit of having an adjustable driver.
Bingo.
You're not going to have to run out and grab another. That's exactly,
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
It's not like
exactly.
you've bought this, and
So
now all
you
of a sudden
did
you've
read
gotten
the
a
script
lesson,
for today.
and all of a sudden I'm not screwing it up because I fixed your golf swing.
Right.
Now your club can adjust to how you improve.
Right. And that'll be another feather in your cap because as the instructor, you're sitting there going, okay, you see you've got it set for a real draw setting here, whatever that may be, or open setting or whatever, and then you say you've reached a level of instruction now and performance that we need to change this.
Well, it's not necessarily a level of instruction. You've reached a level of playability yourself to where we can change this club. Right. Because when you do like you're talking about, George, where you make it closed in more of a draw setting and whatever, it's a Band-Aid.
Right.
So to speak.
Right.
You get your golf swing
Good-
where you
good
start
point.
hitting it better. Now you can adjust it to where now the ball is going to fly with less spin. It's going to fly with a flatter flight, and it's going to go further.
Right.
Well, what's the one thing everybody comes to you and says when they want a lesson? I want to hit it further. Well, you know what? As we get older, we're going to hit it shorter. But if we can optimize that,
Right.
then this is how it can be done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different variables that you can put into this to make this better.
With the hosel, the adjustment capability in fairway metals now, and now we're seeing it in hybrids.
That's correct. No,
And
most
hybrids, to me, Hugh, is I think, as far as the advancements into a hybrid with the adjustable hosel, I think is the biggest move that these manufacturers have made because more players like myself that have taken the 3, the 4, the 5 iron out of the bag and gone to a hybrid, or even you from the old days hitting the old hybrids, the adjustment capability now where if we're hitting let's say a 20-degree hybrid and we can take it down to 19 and get a little lower ball flight or whatever, I mean, that adjustment capability is phenomenal.
Oh, it is. It helps.
is.
It helps a ton. And I tell you what's really scary. Have you seen the new rule that's gone into effect now for top amateurs and the tour players?
And what is that? I haven't
Anything
seen it.
over a 22, you can't use.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Hybrid, you can. That's as high as it can go. And you've got some of these girls that are playing.
Full sets.
Good amateur golfers now. I mean, Tori being one of them. She told me yesterday. She goes, "Yeah, my stuff's illegal now. I got to start figuring out how to hit a 4-iron and a 3-iron because I'm not allowed to use something with that much loft as a hybrid in a national amateur type tournament. Those rules, the putter stuff that's coming in, and then all this. This is new stuff that's coming out.
Who came out with that? The RSNA, the USGA?
USGA, I believe.
We need to find that.
Because she told me that yesterday, and I was like, I didn't realize that they were doing
Yeah, we need
that.
to find that.
Yep. And
We
what-
definitely, because that's earth shattering right there.
Yeah, you dang
I
right
mean,
it is.
that's
That means you're carrying an
earth-shattering.
illegal club in your bag.
Well, it means probably 20% of the tour pros.
Well,
are.
I'm just talking about you, though.
Yeah. Oh, I got several of them. It's not just one, Jeff.
Well, the tour guys aren't.
I got a
because they'll
staff
make
bag
them-
full.
They'll make them get rid of it. But I mean, that's the thing. But that's like you're
But
talking
see-
about. Though.
but
That's
see-
the beauty of being able to
So
change those
somebody
laws.
comes out and says, "Okay, you're hitting a 20-degree hybrid too far, so we're going to back you down to 22." I don't understand that.
No,
Well,
no. What
it's
I'm saying
past a
is
certain
20 is
loft rate.
fine.
Yep.
And if
So
I'm
they're
not
saying you can't
mistaken,
go 23
you
or
can't
24?
go below a 4-iron.
That's
you can't
correct.
go to a 5, 6,
Really?
whatever.
Yep.
There's certain.
But
there's a
several
limit of how
there's
much.
several LPGA Tour players that are hitting hybrids all the way down to the 7-iron.
Not anymore.
Interesting.
Not anymore.
We need to find that.
And then
I just thought I'd throw that in. There's a wrench in the tech talk.
no,
just 'cause
no, we
yeah,
need
yeah.
to find that.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
that's,
do some-
if that's the.
I was told that yesterday, and I was like, "This is the first I've
it's going to be a
heard."
game
Okay.
changer for
well,
some people out there.
But seeing you're our resident pro, we need to forget that in writing. So we need to find that.
I'll
Find it, and we'll report back on it here on TGD today and Tech Talk with Al Cloyd.
Yep. One thing I'd like to tell our viewers about this hosel technology, we've had the ability for a while to do the same thing that these hosels do in my tour trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't realize back in the day, like there's a lot of clubs that were on the market, not a lot, but a few clubs that were on the market that are adjustable. So what we would do is take them and put them in. Mr. Mitchell has the Mitchell loft and line machine,
Right.
which I absolutely love, and he's a super nice guy.
Right.
I can't speak highly enough of him. He's developed what I feel is the best loft and line machine on the market. It has the ability and an adapter in there to where you can adjust hybrids, and you would do that with a bending bar, and then if you wanted to make it a little flatter, you'd bend it down upright, and then open or close would be forward or back. So these adjustments, it's not that it's a new way to do it. It's a better way to do it. It's an easier way to do it for the average person. The average person is not going to go out and spend $2,000 on a bending machine. It just makes no sense. Where now they have that ability to make those adjustments without having to purchase it. Purchase a high-end machine to do that job. So that's what this does. This puts the tool to be able to adjust the golf club into the average professional's hands that knows what he's doing with it. To where before that would have had to have been done manually,
Right,
by a trained club maker with the proper
Well,
equipment.
the way I look at it, Al, is you sit here and you can get let's say you get like my setup, for example. I've got a 24-degree hybrid, which is now illegal, obviously. I've got a 20-degree and a 16-degree hybrid. So, but with the loft adjustments, I can move the 16 to 17 and a half. I can move the 20 to 21 and a half, depending on the conditions, depending on the wind, depending on whatever. Or if I just want to pick up some distance, I can move them the other way.
Yes.
And so, to me, I bought 7, 8 clubs by buying 3.
Exactly.
Agreed?
Sure.
So
It's that there's that much versatility
that's right.
built into the adjustment.
That's right. That's
sir.
right. And it's amazing how many people come to get fitted, and I know you see this, and Hugh, I know you deal with it. It's amazing how many people come to get fitted, and they don't realize, they say, oh, I've got to have a 22-degree. I can't hit anything worse or softer than that, and it can't be 23 and it can't be 24. And so all of a sudden I'll put them in a 22 or a 23 or 24 and just move the hosel and go, okay, how does that feel? And they'll sit and look at the number, and I'll tape the number.
Oh yeah.
I won't even let them see the number.
I got a question for you. Do the rules address changing the hosel during the game?
Oh yes.
You cannot change
cannot.
anything during the round.
Okay.
Not during the round.
No sir.
Okay.
No.
You bend a club
Yeah.
in the round, that club
Is
has to come out of your bag.
taken
Okay.
out. Yep. It's taken out of play.
That's like, what's his name that disqualified himself last week?
Right.
So,
Right. So going back to that, the adjustment capabilities on the hybrids and the fairway metals, it's phenomenal. And what they've done is basically when you go out and buy one of these, whoever it may be may buy, but if it's got adjustment capabilities, you're buying actually 2, 3, 4 clubs
Oh no doubt.
and putting it in your bag and only
Yeah.
having to pay for one.
Well, see, and this
Isn't
is
that great?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is another thing too. With these adjustable hosels, you can have multiple shaft options. See, not only do you have the ability to adjust the hosel, let's just say, if somebody's, really, really meticulous, and they want 2 different shaft profiles in their hybrids. Say they want one shaft profile that gets an extremely amount of height for days when it's not very windy, and conditions are like prime, and they want to get as much air time as they can get.
Right.
Then that's the optimal shaft for that day. If you catch a day that's real windy, and they want to keep the ball down a little bit, then you could go into a shaft that has a firmer tip and has a different characteristics. So I mean, really, the combinations with this is endless on what you can do with the versatility of this.
All right, good stuff, Guy. That was good stuff. And again, Hugh, if you'll report back to us on that change in the rules.
Yes.
I got you.
Because, frankly, you got it?
Oh no! I got
no.
one more thing before we sign
Okay,
off.
go ahead.
Yeah, I want to send a shout out to Jeff in Staten Island. He's listened to every show on Tech Talk. He's retired or a fireman, and he's looking to get into making clubs. So, best advice I can give you is if you can find somebody that's already in it that you can take an apprenticeship underneath. It's a great way to learn. I'd recommend going to Golf Works. Ralph Malby does a book It's called Golf Club Fitting, Design, and Alterations. And it's what the PGA uses. It's basically the go-to book on golf clubs. It'll tell you everything on tipping, prepping, all that kind of good stuff. So that will that give you a little help out there, Jeff. And I just want to thank you so much for listening to the show.
Well, welcome, Jeff, and appreciate you listening. And hopefully, I tell you what, Jeff, just take some extended vacation and come on down and work as an apprentice with Al for a little while.
That's right.
You want to learn? Come on down.
He's the best there is.
Yeah, we'll throw you over there in the Possum Trot Hospital, the golf club hospital. And
there you go.
You can work under Dr. Grind.
Sounds good.
Well,
sounds good
show, Al.
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
it. Appreciate the information. We'll look forward to getting more Tech Talk in the upcoming weeks, so that'll be a lot of fun. HR3, thanks for sticking around.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm George Honeycutt here with TGD Today, Tech Talk with Al Cloyd. Of course, TGD TV and TGD Radio is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. Want to make sure that if you're coming on a vacation or whatever, you can actually give us a call here at TGD TV and TGD Radio at the Golf Director by just calling Dave at 844-GO-GOLF-1. That's call Dave at 844-GO-GOLF-1. And, of course, all of our programming is reviewable on the website. That's thegolfdirector.com. You can go on there and look up all of our shows that we've done and also see the live streaming going on. So you can do that just by accessing the website and click the TGD TV tabs or the TGD Radio tabs. Either one, it's real easy, real simple to do. Want to remind everybody also, too, that we've got the Fantasy Golf tab on there now. For Al, Hugh, George, thanks so much for joining us. More golf news and information coming up next.